This the NC beat. I got a freak elite like Pablo Pete. 980 the Neo folders where the Charlotte leaks. 252 for the Greenville. Hat on blue for the Tar Heels. I can edge them on this paradox like crack foes, like the locks. We knock bolts and the notch. Now I know money talks. How I can't even announce my parents' script to reach the dot. Cause when the ball point to close, my mental travel hella spots like astro projection. Cannot conjoint the two of us if there is no connection. But you can close section. The NCB, the NCB. The NCB, the NCB, whoa, whoa.
Okay, Mr. Jackson, I love you, Mr. Jackson, for real, I do.
I almost got away. If it wasn't for that goddamn Gerald Jackson and the NCB mob, I almost got away. Got to be more careful.
All right, y'all. What's up? Thank y'all so much for tuning in on tonight. Shout out to everybody that is on here tonight. Appreciate all y'all that's tuned in on tonight. Okay. Listen, so tonight we are going live on Patreon. Okay, I'm doing a little conversation. Let me say conversation. A little conversation with Michelle Loud about this home invasion that she had experienced. Well, she wasn't home when it happened, thank the Lord, but she has experienced it, and we're gonna talk to her tonight about what happened. And I wanted to come live because I'm just gonna wait until we go live to talk about it. But I was like, since we got enough time, then I can go back a little bit and play some of this interview that I did with her. Let me see, when was it? Back in back in 2000, last year in February, okay? And kind of go back through me talking to her about, what happened and how Cora, stole her child, okay? Now, if you guys don't remember, first of all, before I get there, make sure if you want to get exclusive news and interviews, all this tea, some of these interviews that I do, all of the interviews and all of the exclusive tea will now be on Patreon, okay? It's $15 a month. If you ain't got $15 a month, then you don't deserve to be over here talking no shit and roasting in the comments. Okay? So, interviews, exclusive tea, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be on Patreon from now on. Now, still regular shows I'll be doing, but if I got anything exclusive, any sweet tea, it's going to be on Patreon. So, download Patreon and search the North Carolina Beat. We should come up. You should see our logo, and you'll be able to catch Michelle over there tonight. I don't care if it's 5 people over there. That's what the interview and the conversation is going to be. And it will also be published for the subscribers on YouTube. So if you are a subscriber on YouTube and you don't want to pay your $15 because you already have a subscription over there, don't worry about it. The interview will be posted over there after it goes live on Patreon. All right. So if y'all don't remember Michelle, this is Michelle right here. Michelle Loud over here to the right, and Cora Jakes. That's Snagger 2 Cora. That's Big Head Cora. I wish y'all would see that walk. Wish y'all would see how she be walking across that stage, grabbing that mic out her daddy hand. So we go play some of this interview on tonight, okay? So that y'all can catch up, and if you need a refresher, you can refresh. So we go play some of this interview on tonight, okay? Now I'm gonna try to skip through my commentary over here because y'all know I be roasted down to the ground, okay? So let me see. Hold on. Let me see if I can get y'all. Let me see where we're going to start this video at. All right, hold on. Let's see. 8. And I also sent Sarita Jakes a text message and they did not respond. They did respond, but I ain't going to tell you what they said on with that. They responded, but they responded again and they sent and hold on, let me skip past this, y'all. Yes. All right, hold on. And I'm so glad that they responded to Girl Loud. They talking about quit calling that girl Cora. What's her name? It's Cora, ain't it? Damn, that's her name. That's her name. All right. Michelle, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good.
You look wonderful and beautiful.
Thank you.
You know, you look better than what you have been through.
Thank you.
And I'm so glad that you are here. I want to first thank the Beat Mob. Let me thank the Beat Mob because I saw your story back when everything first happened, but I didn't really pay attention to what was going on. And until recently, my followers started tagging me, and I was like, I remember this story because I remember that Cora Jakes, well, ex-husband Richard Brandon Coleman had been arrested for allegedly assaulting one of the adopted daughters of the Colemans. And in a statement today that the Potter's House sent me, was addressing that. But from what I'm hearing, it seems like that Brandon may have been set up. And I know you can't, you don't know anything about that or whatever, but we are hearing, that this family is just, oh gosh. I used to like Jakes.
Mm,
Back in the day, I used to like Jakes when I didn't when he wasn't a jackass.
mm,
And I remember, and I heard so many stories about him when he was in West Virginia. I believe that's where he started his ministry from. When he was up there in West Virginia, he was driving an old ass Cadillac that had a hole in the bottom of the floorboard.
mm-hmm.
And see, back then, when your car can't crank and you got to keep pulling over to put water in it, and you just can't pay your bill. See, them the days when God can humble them up. You know what I'm saying? When a person will respect, but these people going to God like, God, I got more money than you got, and don't even know that the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. They are really bold like that.
That's what the Bible say.
Somebody said TD Jakes is a warlock. Oh my God. Well, so let me put this. Okay, so I want to thank you so much for coming on to the North Carolina Beat and telling us your story. I first want to ask you to just tell us who you are, where you're from. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, y'all know my name is Michelle Loud, and I'm from Texas, the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a mom of 5 beautiful children that I had natural. And I'm also a licensed hairstyle cosmetologist, and yeah, I'm really a mom.
You're
Like,
really a mom. Yes.
I work, but motherhood for me is everything, and
Right.
that's really it. I mean, I socialize. I like to have
Mhm.
fun. I'm outgoing. I'm very intelligent. I'm very well educated. Yeah.
And nothing is wrong with you mentally.
No.
Exactly. Because
Listen, honey, listen. Ain't shit wrong with me mentally.
come
Okay.
on.
I
Right.
am fully sane in my sound mind. I've never been institutionalized in
Mhm.
nobody's hospital. I'm not mentally unstable. I'm not any of those things.
Right.
Any of those things. No, I'm not. I'm not.
Right. Absolutely. Um, so how did you I want to get right into things. I'm not an interviewer or a reporter who like to be long and drawn out.
Mhm.
Um, so I want to get right into things. How did you come about
Live.
becoming a member at the Potter's House?
Well, we were going to the Potter's House, like visiting the Potter's House, and they have a youth dance ministry called Revelations,
Hmm.
and it was this lady named Miss Jasmine there, and somehow, well, we can go back. We can go all the way
Go
back.
ahead. Hmm.
I started coming to the church visiting with my mom. And I was like
Okay.
10 years old when 10 or 12 when I met Cora, actually. We met
Okay.
in new members orientation because my mom's friend had joined the church. And this is back when new members orientation was in the tents outside, um,
Okay.
before they moved it inside. So that's where me and Cora and I originally met.
Mhm.
um a year later we were visiting the church, and my mom got in connection with this lady named Jasmine, who at the time was a prominent, but she did dance, ballet, and all of that.
Mhm.
But they was working on a big program at the church, and they needed dancers. And I'm a trained dancer as well: jazz, ballet, hip hop, African,
Right.
you
Right.
know, the list goes on,
Right.
contemporary, lyrical. And so we got in connection with Miss Jasmine, and I did the big program before I was even a member at the church.
Mhm.
And after that, that's when we actually joined the church. I say when I was like 12, we actually joined the church.
You
And
joined 2 years after visiting.
yes.
Mhm.
Um, and we actually joined the church, and I ran into Cora again at new members orientation. And from there we just we 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 started a friendship.
So so why was she in the new members class?
I mean, because Cora is Cora, they roamed
Okay.
around the church.
Right. They roamed right. Of course.
Her and her sister, they
Right.
they had to let it be known that they were the pastor's
They were
children.
PK,
Yeah.
pastor's children.
Hmm.
So you and Cora uh became friends when you were about 12 years old.
Hmm.
So did you ever go to their house? Did you ever go spend time with them? Did
All
she
the
ever come
time.
to your house?
Never
So
came to my house. uh,
why?
well, they kind of, if you don't have as much as they do, sometimes they kind of look down on you without saying it, just
What the
through,
Jakes do?
yeah, through actions, of course. And so when I would spend my time with Cora, during my adolescent years would be at the Jake's house or at church or at a church event, or if we're like going to the mall or something like that. So no, she never came to my house when I was younger, but I spent a lot of time at the estate, the property as they call it, um, with Cora and with Sarah.
Right. So you were in the so were you so um was Bishop TD Jakes and Sarita Jakes around when you were I mean, where were y'all at in the house? Like, were you guys always in the room? Were you doing family things with the Jakes? Or how was that?
Not family things.
Were you
Well, they had their own house on the property. So Bishop and First Lady and Dexter stayed in the main house, is what we call it. It's like three houses on one property. They have all this land, and then they have like a farm in the back, like with animals and everything. And they also have like a salon house or something like that.
Mhm.
But we would spend a lot of time we would spend time in Cora and Sarah's house, and Sarah had Malachi as well. So Malachi had a room in their house on the property, and that's where we were spending time. We would go to the main house seldomly, but it wasn't like you go over to the main house and kick it and chill.
Wait, so and how old were you at this time?
This
And
is
so when
this is
12
between 12 and 16, 17 years old.
and how old was Cora? How old is
Cora,
Cora?
Cora is, I believe Cora is born in 87 or
Okay.
88. So she's like a year or two older than me.
Okay, okay. So if you were 12 at the time and she was 14, always two numbers ahead of your age. So you mean to tell me they had their own house on the property?
Yeah. Had their own house on the property. They did what they wanted to do. First lady will come over sometimes to the house. we would see Bishop sometimes, but back then Bishop was really traveling a lot. That's when he was like really in his prime. So he would he
The shade of it all. Wait, because I'm trying to see him figure out where the fuck Bishop James not travel other than to some funerals.
no, no, people used to
I
want
know back,
Bishop to come. Yeah,
yeah, back in the
the
day. But then he
back,
got high. He got
back
high than
in the
Tasha
early.
Cobb.
You know what? I'm not gonna play with you. Back in the early 2000s and mid 2000s, Bishop was a hot commodity. People like by the droves would want him to, fly out and preach or whatever. Woman That I Loose was hot. I think Megafest started in 2004. So it was
Juanita Bynum made that hot. Bishop
yes,
Juanita Bynum is the reason why Woman
Woman
That
That
Are
I
Loose
Loose.
was always hot. And ever
No
since,
more sheets.
listen, ever since, and I know this is a sidebar, y'all excuse me, but Juanita did her best, and I don't condone domestic violence, don't get me wrong, but I believe Juanita Bynum did her best preaching when Bishop Wesley Weeks was going upside her head. But that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day, you know. But as soon as them fists came down, she wasn't preaching like she was. She wasn't preaching as hard. It's like then she was preaching, trying to get to the glory, get behind the veil. But now I'm like, girl, you just sit the camera up, you in the. But anyways, okay, so they had their own home on the property.
Yes, they did.
And 12, 14. So, wow.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, this is your friend at the time.
Mm-hmm.
This is your best friend. So, how was y'all relationship? I mean, I know you go over you go over her house and hang out, but that don't mean you really clicked up like that. People just got friends that they call because we go to church together. We sit by each other every Sunday.
No, that was my friend. We was friends. We were chilling at the house. If we're at church, we're together at church. Outings, we'll link up and go to outings. We didn't have some escapades. I didn't have to ride with her because she wanted to go meet a dude in another state. And I didn't, that was my friend, honey. That was my friend. We were friends. We were absolutely, well, what I know now as an adult is I was always her friend. She was never really my friend.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So you stayed with them, you lived with them. So when did you have your first child?
I had my first child when I was 17, but I didn't stay with Cora until I was 17.
Okay.
I spent a lot of time at the estate. When I was 17, Cora had moved into these apartments in DeSoto, and she had a roommate. I don't want to put her roommate name out there, but
no, you're fine.
It was a girl. She had a roommate, and I had my oldest daughter when I was 17 years old. And Cora was a nice godmother as well, but it wasn't the same energy with Jason. Like, it wasn't the same energy.
Right.
He helped me with Anaya, like, and Anaya was over there. Even when Cora was in between moving from, she stayed in those apartments, but when the roommate decided that she didn't want a roommate with Cora anymore, Cora went and got like a big old 1 bedroom. But while we was waiting on it to get ready, we'll go back to the state.
Right.
And I had my daughter then. First lady bought my daughter's first Moses bassinet. Did her Bishop and Pastor Kevin and First Lady did the christening for Anaya. So just to give a little backstory of why I even felt comfortable taking said help from her. You know what I'm saying? And it was never no energy of her trying to take my child. Like, she was just simply an aunt, a godmother, even to my oldest daughter, Anaya.
Right. So at the time, so you have 5 children total. So Jason is the only boy?
No, I have 3 boys and 2 girls.
Okay, 3 boys and 2 girls. And you have all 4 of your children now except for Jason.
Absolutely. I've always had all of my children.
Right.
I started legally fighting for Jason in 2016.
So
Um,
yeah,
yeah, but
so
I've
yeah,
never
let's
not had custody of my children. My children have never been taken from me. They've never been wards of the states. The government, federal government, has never been involved with my children. This case is not even a case of the state being involved at all.
right. So so before I get into that, so you were staying with you were going over at the time. So how far did your mom live from the Jakes?
Probably like 10 minutes.
So was she always bringing you over there when you would
No,
go?
I ride record.
Hi. Okay. So hi. I
They had
mean,
vehicles. They had
right.
vehicles early. They're rich kids. They move different.
So did she have her license?
I believe so. I believe.
So wait. So Jason Sarita was letting her drive at a young
Cora
age.
had her own core. By the time she was like 15, 16 years old, Cora had her own core. You got
Okay,
to remember,
that's
Cora
understandable.
is like maybe 1 or 2 years older than me.
Yeah.
So if we left, and then we had other mutual friends that would be at the house too. So it wasn't like, either I ride with Cora or I ride with, my, friends from the church. But yeah,
Right.
but by the time where we were like clicked in, locked in, moving, going through the city, doing what teenagers do, she had her own vehicle.
Right. Yeah, because I got my driver license when I was 16 years old. Um so I understand that part. So how was your relationship with your mom
Um, at what point in time?
at the point that you're going over to Cora's house? The part that you're going over to Cora's house and you began to start staying with her, um, or what have you.
At that point,
I guess let me rephrase that question.
yeah.
I guess because what I'm trying to get at is okay. So let me just go this way. So when you and Cora were friends and she was there with you when you had your first child and then your second child. So Jason is what the
Just
Jason
finished
is
the fourth born.
he's the fourth born. Okay.
Mhm.
So when you had all your three children, excuse all your four children before, well, he's the fourth born. So before you had Jason, you and all of your kids were going over at Cora's house, right?
No. So let me tell you.
Okay.
Um, Cora was Anaya's godmother. Okay.
Okay.
My firstborn and my secondborn are 5 years apart.
Okay.
Um, I ended the friendship with Cora because she will always get in trouble, and she will lie on me and our other friend, who's still my friend, Ashley.
Hmm.
And it was this, what was the nail in the coffin for me at that time was when she was hot in a tail behind some boy she met on Facebook. And being ride or die friends that we are, we rode with her all the way to Kentucky, unbeknownst to us that she had lied to her parents and told her parents that she had a nanny job. She used to do nanny work as well.
Hmm. And
She
how old were y'all at this time?
had 17. I was 17.
Yeah, y'all doing all this? Okay.
Listen, Cora is a year old. Cora is older than me.
Go
I
ahead,
was
man.
I was the youngest in the bunch. But she convinced me and Ashley to uh go with her because by this time she's no longer living in the apartment. She's back at the house. Um, and so she really wanted to go see this boy, but I think she was in trouble or something. They said that she couldn't leave or something like that. So she concocted a plan to say, that she had a nanny job. And I guess for me, I can't speak for Ashley. For me, I didn't want a person I call my friend to travel like that by herself. So I was just,
Mhm.
being a friend, like, okay,
Right.
girl, I'll ride with you, whatever.
Right.
So we get down there, you know, by the time we coming back, the boy had already broke up with her on Facebook and everything. So but while we're down there, she gets a call from Sarah. Sarah is calling me, Sarah is calling Ashley, Sarah is calling Cora because they have a GPS tracker on her car.
Right.
And so they tracked her where she was, and basically we had to come back. And when we came back to Sarah's house. That's when she was with Robert Henson at the time. And we came back to Sarah's house, and I remember First Lady coming in and everything like that. And Cora just basically put it all on me and Ashley. And that solidified to me why it was kind of a sting when it came to First Lady and I. Cora just always lied on us for her fastness and you know how she got
So
around.
she was out there being a hoe at 17.
She was getting around. She was getting around.
Well, I mean, that's what. So she was a parking lot lizard. I mean, you know, you run up on a lizard, they everywhere. So
she was getting around. She was getting around, and
so because she lied on you, you
times.
multiple times, right? Y'all, you just decided this is someone I don't want to be a friend with anymore.
Right. And my mom kind of opened my eyes to that. Me and my mom haven't had the best of relationships, which is why I often ran to Cora and not wanting to be at home because of the up and down relationship that I had with my mom at the time. And so I just finally was like, I'm not gonna keep being looked at as a bad person or a whore or something like that when it's not even me, it's you. So I kind of separated the friendship. My mom actually stepped in at that time and told me, like, hey, you know, wake up.
Right. And you were 17 at this time when y'all decided to just, we don't want to be, I'm not gonna be your friend no more.
No, I decided. She didn't.
Well, you decided. So y'all was what, like 17?
Yeah, I was between 17 and 18, yeah. And then I didn't talk to her. So I didn't talk to her from that time up until a month before I had Jason.
So woo! Y'all, what y'all think about this so far? What y'all think about this so far? What y'all think about this so far? Are y'all paying attention to all of this stuff? They was getting in trouble. Cora was out there being a 3-0 hoe. Girl, you was a hoe before you even made it to the number 4, girl. You was a 3-0 hoe. She was out there being a 3-0 hoe. Her and this girl is all up and down these streets and friends. They all in Kentucky. Cora trying to find her man and still ain't got one all these years later. They was out there. This is a hot mess. Now, as you see, I'm going to get back to the interview. As you know, some of you may not know, last Friday, Michelle Lau's home was broken into. 2 all-black, all-tinted SUVs pulled up to her driveway, ransacked her home, stole her safe with over $1,100 in there. Her children's birth certificate and social security cards was in there. They also stole a laptop and her iPad, thinking they had some information or thinking she was going to have some information on her. But thank God she did not have all of that stuff over there, okay? So tonight on Patreon at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, she's going to speak to me about this home invasion. This home invasion didn't come about until Michelle started talking about, getting her son back and how the Jakes family was, disrespecting her and how she was used and speaking out against Cora. And then, recently with all this stuff with Jakes and Diddy and then everybody bringing up Michelle's story, this is a lot of pressure on Michelle. on the Jakes. There's a lot of pressure. So now it seems like they might be trying to eliminate people because it's a lot of pressure. But all she wants is her son. All you got to do is give her child back. If you give her, it's a little filter on her, baby, but thank you. If you give her child back, she ain't going to say nothing else to y'all. All she wants is her son. So now her house is being broken into. And people want us to believe that we ain't gonna look to Dallas at the Potter's house. Now, Michelle has not accused anyone of anything. Police is investigating. They are treating this case as a high-profile case. But at the end of the day, she gonna be speaking out tonight, giving her thoughts. She already done said some stuff, but you know, we're gonna be a little more organized. And because I feel like she needs to tell her story. Now her house that got broken into ever since, she's been talking out against her son. She's been staying in this place for 4 years, never had a break-in, don't have no enemies, no problems with anyone. And when you look at her page and you search her name on Google, everything that comes up is this woman speaking out about her son against these powerful people, and then her house get broken into. The first person the detectives need to be speaking to is Bishop T.D. Jakes and his daughter, Cora Jakes now. Because she ain't got no money to put no hit out on nobody. She ain't got no money to put nobody on this girl. Cora ain't got no money. Her daddy gonna do it. Swallow. So make sure tonight at 10:30 you download your Patreon. If you are a subscriber over on our YouTube channel, the interview will be over there. I like to call it conversations. I like to have conversations, okay? You can just go to Patreon, download Patreon, and type in at the North Carolina Beat. Don't miss this T, and don't miss this, because nobody has done an interview with Michelle yet. I'm the first, okay? And we get to hear her raw, uncut, unfiltered. All right, it's $15. $15. Okay, it's $15 a month. So that mean if you pay your $15 tonight, you're gonna get this tea, and then if I got some more tea, I'm gonna drop, and it's still within that month, then you're gonna be able to get that. But a lot of exclusive tea when I go live will be on Patreon. So make sure you subscribe. $15 a month. All right. So let's get back to this to this interview. Okay, I want to play y'all this interview. So tonight, when we talk to Michelle, and the reason why I'm pushing it back is because I want to play this full interview for y'all. Okay, but you'll understand what's going on and how we come to where we are tonight. Okay, so make sure you subscribe. Okay, there you go. Screenshot that and subscribe to Patreon. All right, let's go back to Michelle Loud, where we did this interview in February of last year. Then I done lose some weight. I done lost some weight. Look, I look good. God damn. All right, y'all. Here we go. So let's talk about that. For 4 years, you have been fighting about your son being stolen, taken from you by Cora Simmons, Jake Coleman. And y'all, I know, just she's laughing because of my responses. So y'all know how my I'm gonna throw a little gag in every once in a while. But you had done an interview with Tasha K. I believe you done an interview also with Reed. Did you do it? You do, okay. And I do know that last year, the Jakes put out a statement in regard. Well, the statement really, if you ask me, don't have anything to do with the allegations that you've alleged. And I want you to tell us, a month before you had your son, you got back into communication with Cora?
Yes, the church had a picnic. I want to say it's for Easter. And my sister wanted us to go so bad, my biological sister. And so I went, and I was pregnant, and I was pregnant, and I was depressed while pregnant. I had just recently left my child's, got left by my child's father, and had to move back home with my mom, who didn't have the best of relationship with. So I went from being on my own, being stable, to having almost everything completely ripped from under my feet.
Mhm.
I was pregnant. So I was dealing with a lot. I was at a very low place in my life. Me coming from the background I come from, I'm supposed to be in my mind at this time, I'm thinking, I'm supposed to be somewhere, you know, being great, not having all these children and not being,
Right.
and I was just, going through the motions. I was really, really, really depressed while being
Right.
Jason. And so I meet up. Cora is at the picnic, of course, because it's a church picnic.
Right.
And we come into contact. And because
And
I
how old were you all at this time?
oh Lord, oh shit. I was in my 20s.
Mm.
What's up, Wiley?
Yeah.
Thank you for coming by.
Let's see. Jason is 8. I had to been like 23, 24 at this time.
Okay.
I get back into contact with Cora from the picnic,
Hmm.
and she sees me and I'm pregnant. It's just like, her face lights up, and I'm like, I just break down in that instant because at that
Right.
point I had been holding so much in,
Right.
because I am a person who don't really talk
Hmm.
about my feelings and about my
Right.
emotions at that time.
Right.
So it was
Right.
a lot that I was holding in. So when I seen her and when I talked to her, I just, just let it all out in that moment.
Hmm.
I began to tell her how embarrassed I was, how ashamed I was of myself, that I even allowed myself to, get to this point in life and have all these kids. And I just felt like I was failing. I felt like, the weight of the world was on my shoulder. And I didn't have anybody on my side. And she prayed over me. She prayed over my belly, and then she told me that she'll be there for me, whatever I needed, that she would help me and that she loved me and that we'll be sisters forever. We exchanged numbers and things like that. So when I went into labor to have my son, um, I did not want to be at the hospital by myself. My mom couldn't go with me because my other kids was at the home with her and they couldn't
Hmm.
live by themselves. And I don't think my mom had a vehicle at the time.
Right.
And so I had to ride in the ambulance. So when I went into labor, I called Cora and I said, can you please meet me at the hospital? I'm about to have my baby and I don't want to have my baby by myself.
Right.
And she came to the hospital. She was there before the ambulance even got there. Like she was
Yeah.
eating like a light bulb. So she came to the hospital, and in hindsight, looking back on it, I see what she was doing from the very beginning. But at that moment, I was so deep into my depression, and then immediately after having him going into postpartum depression, I couldn't see it. When she was there, like she held Jason all the time. She didn't put him down unless I had to feed him. Unless it was time for me to feed him. Any type of bonding moment that I could have to, just settle my mind. She made it as, oh no, I got the baby. It's okay. You get some rest. You get some rest. Things like that. I was very emotional. I cried every day. I was in the hospital damn near all day. She's the one who told me, Sissy, I think you might be dealing with postpartum depression. And then told the nurse that I was dealing with postpartum depression. So she recognized it before I even recognized it.
So let me ask you this, Michelle, and I know I don't want to interrupt you anymore. I have to ask you this. Can you take a moment? Can you tell us, like, how was postpartum depression taking effect on you? Like, what are some of the symptoms of it that you were having? Can you talk about that?
The symptoms that I experienced with postpartum depression was emotional. I was very emotional about everything. I had detachment issues with my son. Like I'll feed him but put him down. I didn't. It was just draining. Like, sometimes I couldn't get out of bed. Sometimes I
Right.
couldn't talk. Sometimes I just sit in a room with the lights off. For me and my postpartum depression, it was uh very heavy with emotion and
Mhm.
detachment
Right. Right. Right.
for me.
So during the time of your birth, where was the father of Jason?
He was not around.
He was not around. I mean, what was the relationship with after did you tell him that you were pregnant with his child?
Yes, I told him that I was pregnant with his child, who I um I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Take your time. Take your time. Take your time. I know this is a lot. I know this is a lot. I know
Um
this is a lot.
he was not around when I was pregnant, and um
Yeah. So he wasn't around. So
he
you,
wasn't.
yeah, you called your friend, someone who you have been knowing since you was 12 years old. Y'all had a issue. Girl, you just can't stop lying. I don't want to deal with you. But when you needed her the most, you called her and she came.
She did, with the
She
motive.
did.
But dang,
Yeah, she came. Right. We're gonna get to that. She came and um and it's so, you know what, Michelle, let me say this because I've had a friend that, and I don't bring it up because I let the past be the past, but I had a friend, and let me just say, you know, it's easy to call someone that you are comfortable with and that despite of what y'all been through. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And when you have love for a friend, you know, despite of what you've been through, um, I feel like that in hard times they'll still come back around. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? And they'll help you. And in this situation, this was one of those situations. You know what I'm saying? You weren't wrong. I just don't want to be lied on a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't want the bishop and first lady to think I'm causing all these troubles with their daughter or whatever the case may be. So you call Cora, she comes, she's picking up the child, Jason, your baby Jason, your son Jason, because at this time you're dealing with postpartum
mhm.
depression, right? So where's mom at doing this? I know you said she didn't have a vehicle. With this during the time
In
that you
the
guys wasn't good?
um our relationship was up and down. So
Right,
sometimes we're good, sometimes we're not.
right, right.
Um, but the whole time I was in the hospital, my mom was not able to come to the hospital because she had to care for my other children.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she didn't have a vehicle at the time.
Right.
I'm trying to think if she ever did come to the hospital. I can't remember. I know my aunt
Mm-hmm.
Shay did. My aunt
Right.
Shay come to the hospital, and Jason actually had to be in the NICU for a day or two because he had
Mm-hmm.
jaundice, and they just had to check on him because
Right.
I told you I was dealing with depression. Even while he is the only child that I carried that I did not have prenatal care for.
Okay. Right.
So when and I was homeless when I was pregnant with Jason. I was living homeless in a sense of not having my own place to stay.
Right.
So I was, in between my mom's house, or I might
Mm-hmm.
go to a hotel. I had tried to work things out with my kid's dad and moved back to the city that he stayed in, and
Mm-hmm.
it was that,
a lot.
whew,
Yeah,
it was a lot. It
it was
was
a
a
lot.
lot, So my mom wasn't even there while being
Mhm.
pregnant.
Right.
So yeah, my mom wasn't able to come up. If we're being brutally honest, my mom never really cared for Cora.
Yeah. Right.
And if we're also being brutally honest, during the time that Cora was helping me with Jason, she did everything that she could to keep in my mind the type of relationship that I had with my mother, to keep me from listening to the sound wisdom that my mom was trying to tell me, and that I couldn't listen because
You had Cora in your ear.
yeah, they
So
manipulated in my ear.
what was some of the sound wisdom that your mom was giving you that Cora was telling you not to listen to?
I don't need to get no help from her. I don't need to be over there. I need to get my baby and come home, and
Mhm.
this is a family. We are a family, things like that. And Michelle don't get sucked in, and you need to listen to your mama. Oh, I wish
Right.
I would have listened.
So let me ask you this. So when you're at the hospital, you leave the hospital and you go to court, you go back to Cora House. Where do you go when you leave the hospital after you had Jason?
Yeah, I went to Cora's house,
You
but
went to
I
Cora
didn't.
House.
I wasn't staying with her. We
You were
just The day I left the hospital is the day she brought Brandon. And let me just clarify this right here, right the fuck now. Brandon Coleman is not my child's biological father. I did not have sex with Brandon Coleman. I've never had sex with Brandon Coleman. For Jason to be his son biologically would mean that I had intercourse with Brandon during the course of their marriage. I've never had sex with any type of married man, let alone Brandon Coleman. So let's just get that clear, because a lot of
So
people,
people tried to say that you had. So
yeah,
people tried to say that
well,
was
it's this blogger that when he turned on me because I would not give him my legal documentation. You're not a lawyer, so I'm not gonna give you that. So he went on spreading false information on YouTube that he knew was false information, and did it anyway to sabotage my story, and told me that he was gonna do it before he did it. To sabotage me, to get the public to turn away from helping me. And he went on to publicly say that Brandon Coleman was my son's biological father, because I will not tell anybody who Jason's biological father is, because he doesn't want his face publicized. So I'm gonna respect him. That's his choice. That's his decision. They ain't got nothing to do with me and what I'm doing for my son. And what I'm doing for my court and fighting for my child. If you don't want to be known, you don't want your face out there, you don't want to fight publicly, that's fine. I'm gonna do what I gotta do for the child that I carried and I birthed. And so no, the first time I met Brandon was the day that I left the hospital on May
right.
24th, 2014. So we leave from there, and we do go to Cora's house. And we go to Cora's house, and I think I was at Cora's house for like 2 weeks. And then me and my baby left, and we went back home to my mother's house.
Okay. So during the 2 weeks that you were at Cora House, I mean, how was it? I mean, was she still picking up the baby? I mean, how was
He
it?
was still picking up the baby, but Jason is a breastfed baby. And
Right.
so I would still have to breastfeed him. And she kind of started even in those 2 weeks. She immediately started posting him in the hospital, and she just always had to take pictures with him. So if
Mhm.
you want to create a paper trail, right, I've always been here. So she would take pictures of him, like, just all the time. Like, I wasn't even taking that many, but of course, because I have other children, it's like my fourth child. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get to that fourth child, it's just like, hey baby, come on, put you on the titty.
Mhm.
um but she definitely was overcrowding the space even then. But out of the hospital at her house for those 2 weeks, even though I was still, emotionally unavailable,
Mhm.
to not only to myself, but even
Right.
to my son Jason and my other children.
Hmm.
I still was doing my motherly duties, but I wasn't like, it wasn't, I couldn't, like with my other kids, I had like I can't explain it, but
Right.
it wasn't the same. And that was because of the postpartum depression.
It wasn't the same love and caring.
Not the same love, because I love them all, but it wasn't the same, I guess, caring,
Caring.
like for its action, not for its
Right.
feeling, but for its
Right.
as action. Like I said, it was detachment. I had detachment. And that's because of postpartum depression.
Right.
You know, and I didn't know what it was. I even would ask her, like, what is this? What am I dealing with?
Right.
I just feel so detached. I feel so, zoned out. I would be
Mhm.
zoned
That
out,
was the word, Jessica,
and
we were looking for. Right.
yeah.
So, um, so after you move out, okay, so after you leave the hospital, you go stay with Cora for 2 weeks. Now, during this whole 2 weeks, you're still dealing with your postpartum, right?
I dealt with postpartum for years.
Okay. 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 So you leave Cora house and you go back to mom house with Jason
Mm-hmm.
after the 2 weeks. So at
Mm-hmm.
what point did you, okay, so while you was there, what made you go back to Cora's house after you went back to your mom house? Is it because of your relationship?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when you go back to Cora house, is you and all of your children with you at this point?
Mm-hmm.
So you're staying with Cora, and how is that? Now that you have
I
this new
never, I
baby?
never, I didn't stay with Cora until 2016. After that, I would go over there often when I needed a break from my mom's house. I would,
Okay.
go to Cora's house maybe for a week, maybe for a weekend, and it came to a point where I needed to work,
Right.
and I needed to work because I needed to find us a place to stay, because it just wasn't gonna work at my mom's house. So again, here comes Cora. Well,
Right.
I can help you. The baby can stay here while you go try to get yourself together and get work and get y'all a place to stay. So it was one of those situations. And then so Jason would come back and forth between, where I was, if I was at my mom's house or my aunt's house, and Cora. And then she put it in my head that that wasn't healthy for the baby. But now I know, it's like, girl, you full of shit, because when you co-parenting, the child goes back and forth.
Right. Right.
So now I know that, she was just putting whatever in my head, and I was so naive and gullible at the time,
Mhm.
because my mental wasn't strong
What
at
were
that.
some of the things she was putting in your head? Like, what were some of the things she would
You're
say?
this is not stable for him. Him being with you 3 days out of the week and coming over here on the weekend, and he needs to be more stable. And it was only the focus on him, never the focus on my other children. So if Jason needed to be stable, all of them needed to be stable.
Right.
And so she would say that, and then at where they stayed in Grand Prairie, she stayed in a 5-bedroom home. So it was a nice home. And she would be like, you see this, you see this, you see this. This is what he needs. This is what he needs. This is how she talk.
Mhm.
And it's
Right.
like that. And so she would put those kind of thoughts in my head, knowing that I have a lot of anxiety at this time because I don't have a place for me and my
Right.
children. I'm trying to find work and I can't find, well, I'm not getting the jobs. And so you're already playing and toying with my emotions, um on my lack of that I couldn't provide at that time, and what
Mhm.
you could provide, at that time.
So what was going through your mind and through what was going through your mind when she was telling you this is what he needs and he coming over here like this and
Yeah, it was you.
but
You
I'm trying to understand how is bringing my child to visit you on the weekends not stable? I mean that don't even make sense. How you gonna tell me bringing my child over here to come see you on the week? People take their kids and go stay with their friends all the fucking time. So I mean,
when you are helping an individual, truly helping an individual, and you know what they're dealing with, especially something to the magnitude of postpartum depression, you shouldn't even look at it as being unstable. You
mhm,
should look at it. I am truly helping my friend who's going through a hard time right now and needs this type of support,
mhm,
needs this type of help until she's able to get out of this stage that she's in. And I'm going to do whatever I can to help her out. Do you need counseling? Let's find you a therapist. Oh,
right,
my daddy has a warehouse. Let's see if we can get you a job at the warehouse. Oh, we have a church that employs people. Let
mhm,
me see what I can do to get you on working at the church like y'all do everybody else.
right.
It was none of that. You left me to struggle, because if I was struggling, then I wouldn't never get my mind right. And if I would never get my mind right, then you're able to do what you do and concoct your plan and put your plan in place to take my child. And that's exactly what she did, because she can't have children. So you'll do anything to get a baby.
So so she talked about you having so back to this part again. So while she was telling you this, what was going through your mind?
Going through my mind at the time,
Yeah. While she
you're
was
right.
telling you
You're
this,
right. You're right. This is what he needs, because this is not what I have right now. You know what I mean? Um,
so you felt like that because Jakes and Cora and them came from money off of our money. Well, I ain't gonna say mine
not
because
money, but for is
listen, right.
okay.
I get what you're saying, but a lot of people think because you have a 7 bedroom house that you have to raise your child in a 7 bedroom house. You don't have to raise your child in a seven
No,
bedroom house.
absolutely. Mom had a 3 bedroom house, 1 bath. Okay.
Right.
Uh, no.
Right. So I'm trying to understand why would she even proposition you to say, oh, he deserves this? What? Because you have a nice house and you have bedrooms and stuff like this, bitch.
That's
Me and my
exactly.
kids gonna be in the hotel room or in the car. Oh,
You
fuck
heard
you.
me. I know. I listen. Life has taught me well.
No, I understand, but I
Yeah.
understand that. But you
Yeah.
were going through depression and stuff
Yeah.
like that at the time. But I wanted to see where your mind was at,
Yeah.
was that at the time.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's
so
what something. See, and then she said those things because of what I expressed to her.
mhm,
Like, I feel bad as a mom because I don't have my own place to stay for my children. I feel bad as a mom because I'm going here and I'm going there and I'm trying to find my footing, and it feels like I told the girl, I feel like I'm in a deep dark hole and I'm trying to climb out of it, but every time I try to climb out of it, I'm falling back down. These
right.
are the type of conversations that I will be having with Cora while I'm over there with my son, or or if we're out, or we're upstairs, because Cora smoke weed. If we're
Mhm.
upstairs, smoking weed, like these are the type of conversations that I'm having with her. Like, I feel less of a mom because I'm not able at this moment right now to provide, not really understanding in that moment that my current wasn't my conclusion. What was temporary wasn't permanent. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And she just completely took advantage of that.
So, um, after you were telling her, you're right, you're right. What happens? I mean, what happens then after these conversations of you agreeing with her in a different state of mind because you
Yeah,
wasn't in your right mind, you was in a depressed
yeah,
mind because people prey on people who are depressed and going through, and
uh-huh,
they use manipulation, which is a form of witchcraft
uh-huh,
that people uses to play with people's minds and play on
Mhm.
people's minds and make them believe, oh, girl, I'm your friend. It's Cora. I'm your
Mhm.
friend. Jason can stay here. He can live with us. And then
Mhm.
at that time,
Why
you
you
didn't,
get yourself together? Just get yourself together.
yeah, you didn't have time. You were already, and mothers struggle like this every day,
Mhm.
and they struggle trying to keep the white people out their business. And what I mean by that is, I know people right now who I support that they have about 4 kids, but when they struggle, they struggling with their kids. If me and my kids got, we're gonna live in a car, we're gonna make some pallets down here on this floor, and we're gonna make it, and we're gonna survive, and we're gonna live. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a lot of times when you have a rich friend, or you have a friend like Cora at the time, who you can go to and say, hey friend, you know woo to woo woo, I'm going through this, and they're like, okay girl, go get yourself together and I'll take care of the kids. So let me ask you this. um why did so after you agree with what Cora is saying, what happens then? How does she start to, I mean, what happens then? I want you to tell the
What
story.
happens then? But when I say I agree, I was agreeing in the sense of I do need to be able. My children do need a stable place. Um. So after that, I'm sorry. I'm nervous. I'm fiddling in my hair. So
Right.
after that happens, she puts her play into full motion. Um, she starts keeping track of everything she ever buys Jason,
Mhm.
keeping record of every time I would come, every time I would go, every time I would not show up. And the only time I didn't show up is if I had to work, because I did eventually get a job, but that job I got, I was working in a warehouse and I was working 12 to 16-hour
Right.
shifts.
Right.
And she started doing that, and then she told me that she needed me to uh sign a paper saying that he will be able to like fly with her and stuff like that. So when what I signed, you know, I don't know, I just trusted her at the time. So when I went to go sign it at the UPS store, I really didn't even look at it. I'm thinking it's exactly what she told me that it was, just a paper for her to be able to take him if I needed her to the doctor, take
Mhm.
him to the doctor. If they wanted to go out of town, if I allowed him to go out of town with her, that they can have this paper. Later on, I found out that there was a legal guardianship paper. So she didn't tell me that there was a legal guardianship paper. It didn't even say legal guardianship on it. I didn't find out it was a legal guardianship paper until we were actually in court. Oh,
Mhm.
and so she did that. Then she comes in and says, that's when she comes and say, probably like, this was, my baby was born May of 2014. So she did, the first time she had me sign something was July of 2014. Okay.
Mhm.
um September of 2014, she comes back and says that, hey, I had to add something else in. We need to be able to, if he needs to go to daycare, we need to be able to take him to daycare if need be. Are you okay with that? I said, oh yeah, I'm thinking, oh yeah, that's fine because I'm working. I'm trying to put in overtime, trying to stack up my checks, trying to get us a place to stay. And she was like, okay, well, can you re-sign the paper? I just re-signed the paper and kept it moving. Again, did not look at it at that time because I'm trusting my friend. And I know I should have read it. I should have looked at what I was signing, but that wasn't even my mind space then. My mind space was on survival mode. My mind space was on trying to work and get my kids under one roof. And I just trusted her at face value. I didn't question or second guess it. I couldn't see at that time what she was doing. So that was the second paper that she had me sign. And then once I signed that second paper, she goes into even more, coming at me. So now she's starting to ask me, now she's starting to send me things about adoption and asking me how I felt about adoption and asking me, would I be willing to give my son up for adoption. I knew enough then to say, Cora, I'm not trying to give my child up. I just need some help. I need some help mentally. I need some help physically, and I need some help spiritually. I need some resources. I just need some help, And she was like, okay. So a couple months ago by, she comes back and she asks me, and she says, if I paid you, if I gave you some money to give your baby up to me for adoption, would you do it? And I said, no, no. And then she was like, I was like, and I don't even think his father would agree to doing that. So when I said that, she says, well, do you think he'll take $5,000 and sign his rights over, and y'all let me adopt the baby? I said, no, Cora, that's not what we're trying to do. I just need some help, kept saying it like that. So eventually she then comes in. One day I come over there, and Cora cooks all the time. So we was over there having dinner or whatever. And out of nowhere, I just started crying. Remember, I'm still in my depressive state. And I just break down and start crying.
And just to let y'all know, sorry to cut you off, Michelle. Just to let y'all know, postpartum can last for several months and several years. Just to let you guys know. Um, it's not all women. Only I think it's like 1 in 7 women. I mean, it lasts that long, but I believe normally it lasts about 3 to 5 days for some women, but other women it lasts months and even years.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to throw that out there because I want people to understand that you're still in postpartum state of mind at the time.
So we just sitting down eating dinner, and I just break down crying at the table, like out of nowhere. And I was just start saying, like, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I need to talk to somebody. I need to see a therapist. Something is wrong with me. I can't keep going through these emotions in my brain. And she was like, well, this is what we can do. We can sit down with the computer, and I can ask you a series of 100 questions, and you just answer them. In the midst of doing that, she had already started trying to feed me the storyline that I didn't have my baby for myself, that I had my baby for her and her husband.
So let me ask you. So let me stop there real quick. So after you telling her you don't want to give your son up for adoption, why did you still sit down with her? I mean, and she was still asking you, um, questions. I think she got a phone call. Why did you still sit down with her?
I still sat down with her because I'm thinking, like, if I tell you no, that's just gonna be the end all be all, right? No, Corey, that's not something I want to do. This is what I need, and this is what I need, and this is the type of support I need, and that's it. Like, I can't answer.
What type of support did you ask her? What type of support did you want from her other than, because spiritual support can't raise a child?
I didn't need. Well, I did need spiritual support,
Right. No, I was.
But
Right.
I needed support, like, for as I'm trying to work. I had a background at the time. I still have a background, but I can work. I'm working now.
Right.
I had a felony background, and it was fresh at the time. So when you have that type of background, I didn't have a place to stay, not because I've never been evicted. I've never even had a broken lease. It's simply because people or properties would not lease to me because of my background.
Right.
So I needed support in trying to getting a place to stay. I needed support in getting a job. That's the type of help that I was seeking from her. And she told me well, I'm gonna get you on at the warehouse at the TDJ at the, well, you probably don't know, but the Potter's House have a warehouse in Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
And she kept promising me that for months while knowing I'm out here looking for work. My thing is this: if I have resources to help my friend, that's my friend that I've been knowing since I was 10 and 12, and I can genuinely see that she's going through things and that she needs help getting, I'm going to do everything in my power to help my friend. This has nothing to do with money, right? This has everything to do with being a genuine person to the people that you say you love and that you care about. I didn't ask her for money. I asked her for help. Help me get a job. I'll work myself, but can you help me get a job? You know what I'm saying? I don't need you to sign my name sign your name for me on a lease, but can you help me, find somebody that will lease to me? Because you have resources. Your family has resources. Your uncle your dad has houses in Capella Park. They own multiple houses. They have the whole real estate business. I'm not asking you for no damn handout. I'm asking you for help. So that's what I mean by help. And even if you couldn't use your direct connection with your father, you have enough connection and resources that you could have outsourced to help a friend, because I've always been there for you. I've covered you. I labored for you. I've paid your bills. I've taken care of your children. I fed you. I've done all those things. So now that it's my time, and it's just like, I don't even
Right.
want to go there.
So,
Yeah, so
where was mom at during this time?
mom was there, still trying to be in my ear, but Cora had my ear, so I couldn't listen.
But
At
why
the
didn't you
time,
get right? I guess my question is, why didn't you allow mom to take that role that Cora was trying to take?
because we didn't have the best of
Y'all didn't
relationships.
have a best
We
relationship at
didn't
the time.
have the best of relationships.
At that time.
I'm not at this time. I'm not gonna divulge into how bad or good of relationship me and my mom had at that time, because that's just nobody's business. But we didn't have the best of relationship. I didn't trust my mom at that time. I didn't trust what she was telling me. I didn't trust how she was coming at me because of the strain of our relationship at the time. So that's
No,
that.
I understand. No, I understand that, but I also remember earlier on in the interview when you were saying that you and your mom's relationship was up and down. So I'm just trying to figure out at
Yeah.
what point in this story were you and your mom on a good page? Okay, was this time this time y'all was on
We
a
was
bad page?
never in the course of me, in the course from 2014 to 2016. It was more down than up.
Okay.
Okay. So I didn't have the ability to be in tune with my discernment to listen to my mama.
Right.
I was blocked by everything that Cora kept putting in my head and allowing me to see my mom, in the light that Cora wanted me to see my mom in. And one thing I can say is, right, wrong, or indifferent, or whatever our relationship is, I know at the end of the day, my mom does want what's best for her children. And, I did not allow that, because at the time I thought my mama was my enemy.
Right.
And that's as honest as I can give the answer. And I can't keep, at that's how I felt at that time. So yeah.
So you sit down, you sit down with Cora at the computer and she asks you a series of questions. What were some of the type of questions she were asking you?
Who is Jason to you? How do you feel about Jason?
So wait. Oh, she was asking those type of questions?
Yes.
So
And
she was
prior to that, mind you, she had been telling me that God allowed me to have Jason for her.
Really?
Hmm.
I mean, how was that? What was that conversation like?
Just like that.
So she's like, so she just said that you had Jason for
Michelle,
her,
God told me that you had your baby for me.
knowing she ain't no prophet.
Hmm.
Test.
If she said, if she told me. And then she told me that if I didn't give him to her, that she'll take him from me.
Okay, was this after the questions or before the questions?
This was during the questions and after the questions.
So doing the question because the questionnaire sound like to me is
She was
she.
getting me on camera to speak about my thoughts while I was dealing with postpartum depression, is what she was doing.
So she recorded you,
She absolutely recorded me.
and so while you were under postpartum
And let me just
depression,
say this, she's not no licensed therapist. She's not no licensed at the time she wasn't even, I think she was a licensed minister. And that's what she told me, that that's the reason why she had the power to do that, because she was a licensed minister, and that she could counsel me. She could be my therapist.
mhm.
Hmm. So she did that to get into my thoughts, to get into basically how I was feeling at that time, and it wasn't even how I was feeling. That was depression.
So w- so when she was asking you these questions, what were some of your answers? For example, one of the questions was, "How do you feel about Jason?" What were some of the answers?
The answer to that question, that'd be the only question I answer from that thing, because that's moving into legalities, because
Mhm,
that is something that I want to be able to bring up in court, that I do
mhm,
have videos of and documentation of.
mhm.
So the answer to that question was, um well, the first question was, how do you feel about yourself? And I said, I feel misunderstood. I feel ashamed. I feel embarrassed. I feel like I'm not worth anything of value right now in my life. When it came to the question about who is Jason, I said that, Jason was my fourth born son. And while I'm talking about Jason, she's standing in the corner, basically, scolding me with her eyes as I'm talking about Jason. And I'm saying, that he's basically my fourth born son. And, you know, um, I said things like, if it wasn't for him, I really don't know, where I would be right now. Because that pregnancy, even though I was going through a lot, it really did keep me from losing my mind completely. But those are the things that I said, that the I'm struggling with knowing if I had my son for me, or if I had him for Cora and Brandon.
Right. And so all while you're giving these answers, she's standing in a corner. So who was conducting the test? I mean
She.
the secret. Oh, okay. So she was in the corner doing all of this,
Mhm,
and she was scolding you with her eyes.
mhm.
So after y'all do the questioning, what happens then?
After we do the questioning, that's when she amps it up even more. Um, that's when she kind of starts blocking me from coming to the house as much. Um, it
But you
was
still have Jason at this time while this is going on, right?
Yeah, this was almost a year after he's born.
Okay.
And
Right. Right. So what I'm asking is after you guys do the questioning, you said she starts blocking you from coming over to the house.
right, because Jason is at her house. Jason
Oh.
is at her house. Yeah, Jason is at her house. So she starts blocking me from coming to the house, or just not answering the door. Like, it's been multiple times my sister's taking me over there, and I'm bringing diapers, I'm bringing wipes, I'm bringing formula, because I'm gonna take care of my children. That's just
Right.
period. And so she made it to where it would look as if I was not trying to be there, like I just didn't want my child at all. And she starts blocking me from coming, just not opening the door. The friendship started to turn. It started to turn. And even then I was still blinded then. Um
Right.
I didn't fully open my eyes fully until I moved in with her, and that was January of 2016. We can go back before then. Cora forced me to sign my rights, and this is how she did it. She locked me in the office with her and Brandy. She pushed me against the wall, and she told me, if you don't give me your son, I'm going to take him from you and destroy you. Verbatim is what she told me. That scared me out of my mind because it's the way she said it. It's the way she did it. It's the way she looked when she said it. And I didn't know what to do because here's this girl who knows all my secrets, who knows all my skeletons, who knows anything and everything about me, from the type of relationship I have with my mother. What could she use against me to destroy me and to possibly even take my other kids? So now in my mind, I'm like, okay, Michelle, what you need to do something, but what do you do? And so from there, she had me go to Faith Johnson's office, and I didn't know that that's what I was going to do. We did not have a prior meeting before me going to Faith Johnson's office. I did not have a conversation with Faith Johnson before going to her office or anything of the sort. So we go to the office, and we are in the office, and we're sitting at the table, and that's when I started finding out why I was there. And it was to sign my rights over. And I just immediately broke down crying, and I felt very scared. I felt very alone. I felt like, you just gonna you just gonna do me like this. And so Faith Johnson was like, Michelle, you look like you really don't want to do this. And I just dropped my head and started shaking it. Cora gets up from her seat and comes over to me and presses her hand firmly on my back and tells me that I will do this, I'm going to do this, and I shall do this. And that's where I originally signed the paperwork of my rights being signed over. After that, I just made up in my mind that I was going to do whatever I could to be close to my son. I thought it was over, not knowing that it wasn't over, not knowing that that was just a piece of paper. I didn't even know that at that time that only a judge can terminate a parent's rights. So I'm thinking that it's over. I'm thinking there's nothing that I can do, no more that nothing that I can do. She got me. And so in my mind was, I'm going to remain friends so that I can be close to my son. And it came to a point in January of 2016. I moved in with Cora. I was going to go to the shelter, but Cora convinced me not to go to the shelter. And I think she convinced me not to go to the shelter because if I would have went to the shelter, there's no way in chance we would have even been in court fighting for Jason. I would have had Jason.
Right.
So she convinced me to move in with her because I would have went to the same shelter of the girl that she be licking cat with that she had put out at 2:00 in the morning. And she didn't want our paths to cross. So she had me come live over there with her. So I stayed with her from January of 2016 until maybe July of 2016. And while I was there, the whole time I was there, I paid for lights, I paid for water, I put all the food in the house. I'm the only one taking care of my son, my other children, and Amari. So in that time, that's when I decided that I was going to try to collect whatever evidence that I could collect, for my son Jason, because I knew that if I knew that I was gonna have to fight for my baby. I didn't know to what extent that I was gonna have to fight for him too. So I used that time to go through files. I used that time to go through the MacBook. I used that time to go through folders, and that's when I found the receipts. I found the call logs. I found the notes of everything that she kept from the beginning. So she set this up from day one of me being in the hospital. And once I got all of that information out, I didn't know what to do. You know, I was scared. I was I was so scared out of my mind. I was scared out of my mind. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to turn to. I didn't believe that anybody would believe me, or anything like that. Brandon at the time had become so like nasty towards me, like um basically every day telling me, asking me, have you found a place yet? When are you getting out? And stuff like that. And so once I left, I was like, okay, you're gonna get your place to stay, you're gonna get stable, and you're gonna get your son. So I was trying to have, things set in motion so that I can get my baby. The weekend in September when I got him, um, she had filed paperwork in the court to terminate my rights, which was illegal because, mind you, I was living with her and I was the one taking care of him. Jason was on my insurance the whole entire time.
So let me. Woo! Ciao, ciao, ciao. Ain't a lot. Y'all see how Cora was doing this, girl? Cora was doing this, girl. Can y'all hear me now? Can y'all hear me better now? Let me see. Test 1 2 1 2. Test 1 2. Okay. 1 2. All right. So, woo! Ain't this a lot? Y'all getting to hear? This is my thing. This is my thing. My thing is that you took advantage of her. Like dealing with, I had a friend who dealt with postpartum, and it's really bad. But it's like instead of just being a lookout and helping the girl out, you started from day one when she got in the hospital because Cora can't have no kids. She's barren. So this was the perfect opportunity for her to get a child and send her up to get her to say that how she feel about herself. I mean, of course, if you give that to a judge or you give it to somebody, they're gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, do they have kids? Oh no, we need to take them kids." So it's really was a very manipulative situation that was going on that Michelle had going on. Okay. And I was able to see from the documents that made me believe, okay, Corbin is crazy. Okay. So many of you may not know that Michelle's house was broken into. The same story that you are hearing now, she has been telling this story since 2016. It kind of went viral back in 18 and 19. But she had been telling her story years before people found out who Michelle Howe was. You understand what I'm saying? And last Friday, she had a home invasion. Somebody broke into her house, stole her safe that had over $1,100 in there. Stole, had children's social security cards in there, birth certificates in there, stole her iPad and her laptop. Okay, and tonight she's going to be speaking with me at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time about this home invasion, about her fight. Because when you go and look on her page, you see, okay, this lady house got broken into, and she's been speaking out against the Jakes and really stepped it up lately. Really stepped up lately. This woman is trying to get her baby back. And what Cora did to her, the way she used her, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So if you got $15, you subscribe Patreon, okay? Go ahead and go to your Apple Store or your Google Store and search Patreon and download the app and type in the North Carolina beat, okay? So you can hear what Michelle has to say about this home invasion and figure out who she believes is while the police is investigating. Okay, and of course, all other exclusivity on pastors, all this other tea that I have be over on Patreon is $50 a month. Okay, I'm trying to drop y'all a lot over there. Okay, it's going to be paid subscription. If you are a follower of my YouTube channel, if you are a paid subscriber over there or a paid subscriber on Facebook, the interview will be dropping on there later tonight after. So we'll have to make sure you go get the Patreon subscription, $50 a month. Okay, it's worth it. It is worth it. Because now I get to put stuff in a place for people who really support. You get what I'm saying? Amen. Amen. All right, so let's get back to the video. Finish it up. Oh, have mercy. Let me ask you a question. Where were your other kids doing all of this?
They were with me.
Okay, so all of your kids were staying. You and your kids were staying at Cora house when all of this stuff was going on.
Yeah, they were with me.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay, go ahead.
And so she filed the paper. I'm trying to get through because I kind of gotta go.
No, go ahead.
She filed the paperwork in court in September of 2016, which was illegal for Faye Johnson to do because in the state of Texas, I would have to have been away from my child for 6 months or more for her to be filed to have my right. Even with me signing in her office, she could not file that paperwork if I had not been away from my child 6 months or more. Because she did not file it under the pretense of me willingly signing my rights over. She filed it under the pretense of child abandonment. That's what she filed it as. So when you filed it under that pretense, that means that I would have had to leave my child for 6 months more with no type of contact. Being that I was living in the home with my child and I was taking care of my child, I was feeding my child, I was clothing my child, I was bathing my child, I provided insurance for my child. So now that is solidifying my place as a custodial parent of the child. I was paying for daycare for my child while living under Cora's roof, on top of paying her light bill, on top of paying her water bill, on top of paying all the food in the house. Yeah.
Wait, so you paying all of these, so you're paying all of these, sorry. So you're paying so you're doing all of this at her house?
Yeah.
So you did get the resources.
And she got on this stand in line and said I didn't do a bitch ass thing.
So so you did all of this stuff, and she's taking you through all of this stuff. So you oh, this is a lot. This is a lot. I know you kind of gotta go.
To watch the live because it was.
Yeah, I wanted to do an interview because I wanted
to get through the story.
Yeah, I wanted to. Yeah, we were getting. I just want to give people a background of like find out who you are and understand your relationship with Cora. Because I'm still trying to, even through all of this, I'm still trying to find out what did she have against you that make her just want to come after you and take your child like that and not the other kids?
She really didn't have nothing against me other than the fact that I can have children and she can't.
Right. And I'm just like, well, why you didn't try to get the other? If she can't take care of one child, what make you think she can take care of the other ones?
Yeah, but she preyed on my vulnerability. And I don't think that she counted on me waking up out of that depressive state of mind.
Right. So when did you wake up out of that depressive state of mind?
I fully woke up when I was living there and I started, seeing the evidence and seeing the plays and seeing what she was doing. I just had to, in my mind, I was trying to figure out, okay, how do I get out of this now? How do I maneuver through this and what legally can I do? Because like I said, I went to the office and signed my rights. I'm not knowing that I still had my rights. I still fully had all of my rights, even when I signed that paper.
Yeah,
My
because the
rights were
judge
not
has to
signed.
rule on that. A
Yeah,
judge can only, yeah.
I could have took my baby at that house and left and never went looked back, but I did not know that at the time. I thought, well, bitch, you didn't. Damn, bitch, why the fuck you didn't realize this shit a long time ago? So those were the type of thoughts that was going through my head while living in her home. Now it's like, okay, now what the fuck are you gonna do? How the fuck are you gonna get
Mhm.
out of this? How the fuck are you gonna get your baby?
Right.
So that's
Mm.
that's how it was. Yeah.
So you're saying, so y'all was in Judge Faith
Johnson, yes.
Johnson, Judge Johnson.
Well,
Okay.
we call her a judge because she used to be a judge. At the time, she was an attorney.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got you. So she came up to you and put her hands in your back.
Cora did, yes.
Cora did.
Yeah.
And she told you, you better sign these papers.
Mm-hmm.
Give me your son, or I'm gonna take your son away from
Mm-hmm.
you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you were still in this state of postpartum depression at the time.
I was mentally not strong.
You were mentally not strong. Yeah.
I was mentally not strong. Like if the people that know me know that I wasn't mentally strong because in real life I don't take no shit.
Yeah.
In real life, I don't take no shit. So for me to be in that state of mind, like I was not mentally strong. But yeah,
Mhm.
but we ended up going to court because when they filed the paperwork that they filed, I immediately rebutted.
Okay.
Immediately, I wrote the judge a 3-page letter telling
Okay.
the judge everything that she had did to me, everything that she had said to me, everything that she had made me sign. I set up the whole play in the letter to the judge. And that judge was not supposed to even let this go to trial, to even have a court. Once I said, this is not what I want my child, and I have not abandoned my child, and I provided proof that I was in your home, that was supposed to be it. That was supposed to be it. And that's not what happened. They paid my lawyer to throw the trial in court. They paid the judge to allow
Who
the
paid your lawyer to throw the trial in court?
uh them people.
Bishop T.D. Jakes and Sarita Jakes now?
Absolutely.
Allegedly.
When Sarita can look me in my face and tell me after trial that you believe me, she
What
looks
did she believe you about?
she believed me about everything that I said that Cora did.
Hmm.
And how Cora went about it. She said that she believed me, Bishop believed me, the whole family believed me, but they had to stand beside their daughter because it was ultimately her decision. So when you can look me in my face and you can tell me that you believe that I was manipulated, you believe that I was coerced, you believe that I was put under duress, you believe that your daughter forced me to sign paperwork, forced me to sign documents, you look me in my face and tell me that. But yet you elevate her in the church, you go from a children's minister or a children's director to a children's minister to an elder to the children's pastor. That's pay. That's pay elevation. And you did this all in the course of the trial of the court battle. This was a 2-year court battle. So to the people saying, she all of a sudden speaking up 8 years later. No, ma'am, no, sir. I've been talking. I've been speaking up and talking since 2016. I've been making noise since 2016. I've been talking about this since 2016. I've been fighting in court since 2016. I've been trying to get my baby back since 2016.
She
I've been
has,
just 2
y'all.
years
She
old.
has. This ain't
Since
new.
2016. This is
She
not
has been
nothing
fighting
new.
for years.
So to all
Yeah.
the people coming in from bloggers that wanted to turn on me, this has been going on since 2016. This case started in court September of 2016. My first court date was October 25th of 2016
So
in
let me
Tarrant
ask you
County
this, because
Court.
I know you got to kind of go. So let me
Yeah, I
let me
gotta
let me
go.
let me get
I'm
this. Let me
sorry.
get. No, you fine. You fine. So let me ask you a couple of more questions before you go. Um, so during trial, what was the judge's ultimate decision was to what?
The judge didn't have an ultimate decision. What happened was they did not allow me the second trial. They did not allow me to bring in new evidence, and they completely went against the law. When you have a new trial, when it's a mistrial and it's a new trial, you're then allowed to bring in new evidence. So I wanted to bring in all the evidence my lawyer didn't put into evidence like I told him to. The text messages, the emails of her constantly emailing me and sending me messages about adoption and open adoption and how I should get my son up, and me telling her, it's a letter that I sent her telling her I do not want to do this. Like, I could do this and I could do this, but ultimately at the end of the day, Jason is my responsibility. God gave him to me, and I don't want to give my baby up. I told her this, and I had it in an email, and I sent it to her. And this is the type of evidence that I was trying to get into court. Well, the judge completely basically wouldn't let me bring in any new evidence. So how they forced me into an agreement, again, manipulation. They presented as rebuttal evidence of me smoking a cigar. Now, it scared me because it's like, oh Lord, they got video of me smoking weed. Not knowing, Michelle, it's just a goddamn video of you smoking, but they can't say what you smoking. It ain't no video of you breaking weed down and rolling it up and putting it in there. It's just a video, of you smoking. So that's how they got me to sit down and come to agreement. And because at that point, it's
So they wait. So they got you to sit down and come to an agreement because they had a video of you smoking?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay,
even though
so you sound so
even though Cora smokes weed, we smoke.
well, but that don't mean nothing because, like you said, that don't determine. I mean, just because you're smoking a cigar doesn't mean that
It's weed.
it's weed.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you even agree? Why would you even allow them to even get you like that?
You gotta think. I don't know that at that time. I don't know that at that time.
You didn't know what?
I didn't know that what I know now about the law. See, now I've studied the law since then. So I was representing myself pro se. So I was
On the first trial or the second trial?
Second trial. The first trial, I had a lawyer. We didn't even get to a trial. The first day the trial was deemed as a mistrial.
A mistrial.
Right. So we didn't even get to a trial, the first trial. So this is the second trial. We had one day, the only person that got on stand was Cora and the doctor. And the doctor who they subpoenaed thought that she was going to testify for them, but ended up actually having my side, saying that Jason was, because Cora tried to lie and say Jason was malnourished, that he was a drug addicted baby, that he was going through withdrawals, and basically the doctor was like, that's not true. Jason didn't have any drugs in his system. Jason didn't go through any withdrawals. He was never malnourished or nothing like that. And said that she heard Cora tell me that she will be there for me to help me, because that's what she told the doctor. Yeah. So the second trial, I represented myself. So I'm going into a courtroom. I don't really know the law, and they use that to their advantage is basically what I'm saying. So at the time, I didn't know that, Michelle, this can't scare you, because they can't tell you that this weed, it ain't no video of you breaking no weed down and rolling no weed up. This is just a video. So this don't hold no weight in court. And not only that, she wouldn't even be able to submit that as evidence because it didn't have a month, date, and year. When you're submitting evidence to the people that may represent yourself pro se, when you're submitting documentation, your documentation has to be dated. It cannot just have a month and date. It has to have a month, date, and year. So they did their tactics to get me where they wanted me. Again, mind you, this is only 2018, and I have been in a court legal battle for 2 years at this time. At this time, I was just breaking down because I just want to see my baby. I just want my baby. At that time, I hadn't seen Jason since 2016. Mm-hmm. So when we started court in September 2016, I didn't see Jason from September 2016 until April 2018. Do you know how hard that is mentally? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's very hard mentally to be without your child. So I'm already drained at this point. I'm already broken down. I'm already tearing down. Like, I just want my baby. I just want to see my baby. So But I never agreed to my rights being terminated. Even when I came to the agreement, I didn't agree for my rights to be terminated. I didn't agree for Jason to be adopted. I didn't agree for me to be completely excluded out of his life. That's not what I agreed to. And what they did was put that as the order. And when they sent me the order, I told them, this is not what I agreed to. This is not what I said before the judge in the Rule 11. And so I immediately said, I want to revoke this order. But that's not what happened. The judge signed it anyway and put it into order. So this is why we're here where we're at now. Because, and then put me under a gag order and told me I couldn't talk about it.
Right. So still to this day, you have not physically seen Jason.
No.
You've spoke with him on Thanksgiving last year, right?
I spoke with him on Thanksgiving last year after I reached out to Cora. Not
Right.
because she reached out to me.
Right. And the Jakes are not answering their phones for you. They won't let you.
Not
And
responding to emails, not responding to Bishop actually has me blocked. First Lady has me blocked. Cora just unblocked me. Sarah doesn't have me blocked, and Jermaine and Jamar doesn't have me blocked.
that was the interview. And of course, I'm on the wild commentary. Okay, I hear that. Hold on. Okay, can y'all hear me now? Let me do it like this. No, it's the mic. Can y'all hear me now? Let me do it like this. No, it's the mic. Okay. Seem like y'all can hear me now. Okay, so that was the end of the interview. Yeah, it's this mic. I got to get me another one. So listen. Okay. Don't forget tonight at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, that I will be talking to Michelle. Okay. She is going to talk about this home invasion that happened last Friday. Recently, ever since the stuff with Jakes came out, she had been, well, we brought up her case again about this situation with the Jakes family. And her story has been going viral all over again. And she's been recently speaking out. And on last Friday, her home was broken into. Two black all tinted SUVs was parked outside of her home. Her house was broken into. Her room was ransacked. A safe was taken that had her children's social security card in it, had their birth certificate in it, and all of that stuff. And this has been a nightmare for her. This has been a nightmare for her. I was one of the first people that she called about this. And everybody who is covering this story already know who to look for. We already know who could be responsible for this. So tonight, exclusive, I was speaking with Michelle. This is the old interview that I did last year in February, and I wanted to replay it before I brought her on tonight on Patreon so that you all can know her story. I feel like that I believe Michelle because I've seen the documents. I've seen stuff that she was trying to present in court, and that's why I took a story, and that's why everybody is talking about her story because it's a legitimate story. And what Cora Jakes did to her was just crazy. And my thing is, if the woman want her child back, give her child back. You see what I'm saying? Cora has no legal purpose to this day to keep that woman's child. And somebody in the chat was like, let me go back to the comment. Someone in the chat had stated, why didn't the other kids get adopted? Well, you may have come in late, but as she stated, this was a newborn baby, and Cora can't have kids. You get what I'm saying? Cora can't have kids, but she was grooming this baby, nurturing this baby. You get what I'm saying? She knew what she was doing. She's crafty. She knew what she was doing with this woman's child. It's kind of like that Kamaya Mobley story. Y'all remember that Kamaya Mobley story where the fake nurse, stole the baby? Y'all know the Kamaya Mobley story. I mean, you don't know what these people will do to get a child when they want a child. Instead of her letting her mama lay hands and stick her fist in her to heal her, they just wanted to take this girl's baby, and it was the perfect time. It was perfect timing. It was perfect timing. Um, okay. Um, okay, yeah. So, but it was just it was ridiculous. It was okay, yeah. It was ridiculous. So let me put the Patreon link back up, and this is for all other exclusive news that I post, videos, interviews, um, maybe pictures of pastors or documents. It just all depends on what's going on. It will be on Patreon, so you can download the app and you can support at the North Carolina Beat. Um, and also to my Patreon subscribers, I'm going to send you guys some t-shirts. I know you guys have been wanting these jackets that I got, and some of y'all been requesting my mugshot t-shirts. So for becoming a subscriber, I'm going to get that to you. You're going to get free perks. Um, I might do a couple of giveaways. I like doing stuff like that. But it's a whole bunch of perks. But tonight, Michelle will be on the North Carolina Beat Patreon. It's $15 a month. Okay. Go on in, sow that seed. So all you have to do is download the Patreon app. If you want to hear from Michelle and what she has to say about all of this stuff, if you are a subscriber on the YouTube channel, the video will be posted there after tonight. And if you're a subscriber on Facebook, a paid subscriber, then it will be posted there. Okay, that's the Patreon. All you got to do, you don't have to put the @ symbol. I'm sure you probably can though. Or if it doesn't work by putting the @ symbol, just type in the North Carolina Beat with your spaces. All right. I will see you guys. Let me see. They said no much. Let me see. She is just not talking about her situation. Now she has been talking and telling her truth for a while. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. She has been talking about this since 2016. Okay. Michelle has been talking about her story regarding her son and fighting for her son since 2016. This is not a new story. Like I said, 2018-19 is when people started picking it up, and now it's all out there. If you Google her name, all you're going to see is her fight. Now, one time did she say she wanted any money? This woman wants her son. She don't want no money. She wants her son. And Cora Jakes has no legitimate purpose. It's like, okay, you did this to me. I'm better now. I want my child. What? And then as a Christian, and then this is the thing. This is the problem. Michelle don't even get to talk to her child every day. She don't get to talk to her son every day. Like 2 or 3 months go by, and she's going to tell you tonight when the last time she spoke to her son and how, it's been set up 2 or 3 months. You can't talk to your child. This woman should be able to talk to her son every day, every single day. Wake up throughout the day. She should be able to talk to her son. Jason should be able to talk to his mom. It's like she started small, and it's like Cora, I mean, and being how it's the baby started so small, the baby probably the baby know Michelle because she breastfed him and they talked, but it's like she can't talk to her baby every day. We don't know what Cora's telling this child. We don't know if she's saying that his mom is a bad mother, but when he get older, he'll be able to Google this stuff and see. He's gonna want to know. He's gonna, look and Google and see that his mom has been fighting for him for years. And that whatever Cora, and he might hate Cora when he get older. He might hate Cora when he get older. Anyways, if you want to hear about this home invasion, a little bit more about her story tonight at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's getting close, so it's getting close to that time. So make sure you download Patreon and search us the North Carolina Beat, and we'll see you over there. Okay, thank y'all so much for tuning in tonight. We'll see you on Patreon. Peace. Y'all want a song out? What y'all want a song out? Okay. See y'all.